On October 3rd, 2020, a Saturday, I woke up. I barely slept the night before. I've had almost little sleep over the last 72 hours, and I'm wiped out. I'm exhausted. My husband in the hospital being declared brain dead, and they lied about all of it. He's now anointed finally after the diocese and the hospital 3 times. He was denied. But I didn't get to share what happened on October 2nd. Later in the afternoon, I received a phone call from the hospital pastoral department. And the pastoral department is suddenly chewing me out. When I say chewing me out, I am saying she was upset at me. And I was just totally shocked. How does a pastoral department call a wife of a man that is being declared brain dead, call and speak so unprofessional and get so irate again, because I'm not willing to bend the hospital's ways and do what the hospital demands me to do that is against my good conscience choice and my Catholic Church teachings, and against my and my husband's will and the will of our children. So I was just totally dumbfounded. And so I again reiterated and I said, ma'am, you're not speaking professional to me. I am in a crisis family medical situation, and this is not the way you are to be talking to me. So this is not how I am going to continue this conversation. If you want to talk with me, let's talk professional, but this is not how we're going to continue. And she was just dumbfounded. That I put her in her tracks professionally. And so that point, it just wasn't moving forward. She was not willing to have a professional conversation with me. And she just wanted to threaten, get mad at me, harass me, all of this nonsense. And I'm like, I'm not putting up with it. No. So I just said, thank you so much. You have a blessed day. And click the phone off. Because there's no need for somebody to speak that way to me. And I won't put up with it. So then, back on October 3rd, so now we're waking up, and my husband normally would cook breakfast because he worked an evening job. He would normally spend time with my son in the morning, getting ready, teaching him how to be the man, and get ready in the morning. And he would be cooking eggs and toast and having the kids with him and getting everything ready. And here I am I haven't cooked breakfast years. And here I am realizing my husband is not here. And they're all feeling that Daddy's time with them is not happening. And they were feeling really frustrated, really emotional. I was feeling emotional. So we just did some fun things in the morning and attempted to have a more calmer day. I knew I wouldn't hear much from the hospital because it's a Saturday, unless he becomes unstable and his heart stops or something like that. So I later in the day made my call to the hospital, talked to my brother-in-law. I started to see a little pattern that my brother-in-law had more details than I in the day's report. And I thought that to be a little odd, being I'm the wife. But it was like really interesting and kind of a red flag to me that something wasn't right with this. I also noticed that I wasn't getting phone calls asking permission for them to do medical tests on my husband. Actually, I received no phone calls on them doing medical tests. In fact, the only 2 phone calls I received from the medical staff was the night that he was admitted to the first hospital. And then my phone died, so I couldn't even pick it up. And then the next call that I received was the morning after he was admitted to the city hospital by the neurosurgeon. Other than that, I was getting no calls to ask me permission on any medical procedures and cares at all. And I thought that to be really strange, because there are some medical procedures that need a signature, that need permission. And so I was a little taken back by that. And I wasn't given details about his medicine or, and I had to poke and prod to get the information from them. They weren't really voluntarily giving me information when I called. So these things were starting to make me question come later Saturday. Then on Saturday night, we got on camera, and we weren't on camera very long. And all of a sudden, and I could hear like this person clearing their throat, or I could hear this like noise that somebody was nearby. And so I started questioning what's going on, like in my mind. And am I going crazy? And so, but we did notice that my husband was moving. They actually told me that he had, they had done a test, and he started moving his toe. Hands were on the right side, were actually moving little bits when they pricked him. And so we started having a bit of hope, and we were getting excited that maybe there was something going on. But apparently he was brain dead, remember? So it was very hard, but we were keeping as upbeat as we could and praying and laughing and just attempting to keep our spirits up, because I didn't want to get in that negative way. And I wanted to keep focused with God and gratitude that he was anointed, that the time that the fact that I did not have my phone available to me that first evening, they put him on a ventilator, which actually led to him having the delay, so he was able to be anointed. Because if I said no to the ventilation and whatnot, then he would not have had time to be anointed. So it was all in God's blessing that they had the ventilation on him, and that my phone didn't work. I mean, really, it was a blessing. So we were just praising God. We were thanking God, which is what my husband did all the time. And so we were just doing that, and we would get on the call, that one call that we got on with the Zoom, and we talked to him just like we would, and we were praying, and we were praying for healing and praying over him and playing music and praying. But all of a sudden, boom, we were dropped off the Zoom, right? Off, gone, totally shut off. Did it die? So I called up there and I said, we got cut off on the Zoom. Oh yeah, we shut it off. Yeah, like there was no, I'm being nice. I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to give you notice. We need this for somebody else's room, or we need to do something in his room and take care of him and do his cares. There was none of that. It was just, they shut it off. Because we treated him like a human person, because we prayed over him, because we prayed with him, because we threw Christian music on, blaring, and they had to experience all of that. Yeah, you know when Satan is involved, when things like that get shut off. So we had spent Saturday as joyful and in gratitude as we could, because the Bible speaks about being in gratitude. I'm getting goosebumps. My husband was always in gratitude. And if you knew of his childhood and what he went through, he was an orphan. And he went through major, major issues, major traumas. And to know that my husband, after all of what he went through as a child, still would praise God and would live in this gratitude and would sing at the top of his lungs and would pray the rosary every day, and it was just a devout Christian man. You know, I was going to carry on that. I was going to carry on that legacy. It was hard, but that's the way I wanted it, because that's the way that is God's way. Because God had everything in the palm of his hands. All I have to do is to trust him and believe that everything is taken care of. And it was. It was. Yeah, sure, I cried. We all cried. We all had our moments. But we all celebrated because God is taking care of everything. So that was our Saturday. And it was really difficult for me because I had never spent a day where I didn't get to talk to my husband. My husband and I were so close. If he was working, he had a driving job, he had the earpiece in, and we were talking and praying and singing all the time when he was driving. Like all the time. He would drive graveyard shift. He would drive evening shift. I was there with him. So it was really, really strange for me not to have the phone to my ear or on speaker and carrying it around, talking to him. And it was just heart-wrenching. It was just heart-wrenching. To not go see my husband and bring our children to see my husband, it was heart-wrenching. It was the hardest situation for anybody to go through. To not be able to touch, to hold, to feel, to smell, to experience your loved one firsthand, because the brain processes differently too with a computer versus in person. We need to make changes. We need to change things in our society. We need to have laws. We need to protect the dignity. We need to protect the dignity of life, the dignity of family life, the dignity of marriage, parental rights. We need to stand up for truth. We need to be first drawn to the truth within us, and then we need to stand up and help others be drawn to the truth. We cannot sit quietly and allow this to continue on and be slaves to this system of corruption and satanic ways. It is time to stand up, which is why I chose 2 years later to share our testimony in a documentary series, because you now know that what it was like for our family firsthand. You now know. And you're going to learn more, because that's just a fraction of the story. So I'm going to let you go. You have a blessed day. Thank you so much. God bless.